No Man's Sky Next is here, and there is a lot of stuff going on in this update. For the first time since launch, the gaming community as a whole really seems willing to give No Man's Sky another shot, and a lot of the people that are playing it are having an absolute blast. Today on gameranx, here's everything you need to know about No Man's Sky Next. Starting off at number 10, the opening part of the game has totally been reworked, and I think it's much better than the changes that were made in previous updates. No Man's Sky has never really held your hand and kind of left you to figure things out on your own, but with the next update, it holds your hand just a little bit to show you how certain mechanics work. They just introduce you to them, they let you know that they exist, and then let you learn from there. This is all done through tutorial-like objectives that you'll be following, starting off with finding and repairing your starship. So you'll naturally learn about repairing, what to do with crash freighters, base building, and eventually getting a freighter of your own and teaching you how that works. There's also a 30-hour story and missions that you can take part in now too as well. This actually came in an earlier update, but I know a lot of you probably weren't around for those additions and may just be experiencing these now for the first time. A lot of people really weren't into how little there was to do in vanilla No Man's Sky, but with the additions of the story, other missions, and even guilds, there's a lot more to do this time around. Moving on to number 9, as expected with any update to any game, there are some smaller quality of life changes made as well. The quick menu and build menu for one is now easier to access and use. Repairs have finally been fixed as well. You used to have every item needed to repair something in your inventory before repairing whatever it was you were working on. Now you can repair something as you gather the materials needed. You don't have to have everything all at once, which helps to free up inventory space. You're also able to summon any of the starships that you own at any given time, as long as you have a freighter and multiple starships. The UI has also been redone to take up less screen space. Coming in at number 8, resources have been totally reworked as well. They've added a ton of different resources and changed how they work. The fuel for launch thrusters, for example, has completely changed. Crafting has also gotten a bit deeper with the addition of refiners. Refining certain resources will convert them into something else that can be used to build and craft more advanced things, as well as fetch you more units when selling it. Refiners do fall under deployable tech, so after building it and using it, you can pick it up and it can be reused somewhere else. So just make sure you're remembering to pick it up. I keep forgetting mine on planets and losing them, and it sucks to have to build a new one every time I need one. So don't be an idiot like me and keep track of your shit. And at number 7, every time No Man's Sky gets an update, they rework the visuals a little bit. They're always upgrading them, but this time around it's probably the biggest overhaul the game has seen so far. The biggest improvement is probably the terrain generation on planets. The environments are much more varied and less bland. You'll actually find mountains and dense forests, bigger and better looking bodies of water, and cave systems that you're actually able to navigate. Some planets even have storms, and now these storms look a lot better with biome specific effects. So if you're out during a blizzard, your HUD will actually frost up. They also added a lot of detail to NPCs, buildings, and ships. Space has also gotten a visual overhaul as well. There are finally rings around planets and asteroid belts around planets as well. Also, this game now has some of the prettiest clouds. And at number 6, No Man's Sky now offers up the ability to play the entire game in third person. Originally, you were only able to play in first person. This goes for on foot and in ship as well. Changing the camera perspective actually shakes things up more than you'd think. Experiencing the game from a different perspective just feels different. I felt the same way playing GTA 5 in first person when they added that. While running around in third person is cool, flying in third person is where this new perspective really shines. Personally, I think it makes a ship a little bit easier to control, but that may just be me, and the added detail to the ships is just really cool, and I want to look at it, and third person helps. I just really like the feeling of flying around the surface of a planet in third person, looking for an interesting looking spot to set down. Playing third person obviously means you can see your character, and thankfully Hello Games has added customization options, which leads us to our next point at number 5. Now that you can run around in third person and play with friends, it makes perfect sense for Hello Games to have added character customization into No Man's Sky, and I gotta say that I'm pretty surprised by how many options there actually are. Now, it's not like your traditional RPG, it doesn't have sliders, so you can't really tone it in and get that perfect character that you want, but there is enough options here to really make your character look how you want to look. First off, you can choose from 5 different races to play as, and if you pick a Gek, the little short dudes, and play in first person, the camera is actually lower to the ground, which I thought was a nice little touch. From there, you can pick different pieces of your spacesuit like armor, torso, backpack, boots, legs, etc. And you can change the primary and secondary color of almost every piece as well. Also, some of the pieces of armor and different head options for different races look really cool. Moving on to number 4, base building came to No Man's Sky in the Foundation update, so it isn't new to Next, but Hello Games did rework it a bit to make it work that much better. First off, they've added hundreds of new parts, so you have way more options now than you got with the Foundation update. You can also build bases anywhere you want, and you're able to have multiple bases, so you don't have to deconstruct bases to move them anymore. Base building also seems to be endless, and that's based off of a video that Sean Murray posted on Twitter of a tower that seriously went up into the clouds. The base building system has also been giving some quality of life improvements, so it's just generally easier to use, so placing parts is a lot easier than before. The No Man's Sky subreddit is always jam-packed with some crazy looking bases, and now with all these changes being made to base building with the next update, I'm really excited to see what kind of crazy bases the community ends up building. Oh, and you can also build a base underwater now, which is pretty cool. And at number 3, freighters are another thing that was added in the Foundation update and then expanded upon with the next update. Previously, they were pretty much only used for storage and farming, but in the next update, they've been reworked completely. First off, your freighter is your capital ship, and you're able to command a ton of frigates and actually send them out on real-time missions that will reward you with units or resources. They can also be called upon to aid you in battle and help you explore different systems. If you're playing with friends, they can come onto your freighter to explore and also take part in multiplayer missions that you can accept from the bridge. Base building within freighters has also been overhauled, so now you can really deck out your freighter and have it look the way you want it to look. Acquiring a freighter seems way more enticing now, seeing that it's pretty much you dropping a ton of units on additional storage. In the previous update, this time around they matter a hell of a lot more, and now it seems like they're actually an important part of the game. And at number 2, this technically wasn't added in the next update, but Hello Games has already told us what to expect moving forward. According to them, we can expect weekly content to be added to No Man's Sky. This will include community events, which can earn you exclusive rewards and customization options. All of this will be free to all players and will not feature any type of microtransaction. And finally, at number 1, the biggest addition to No Man's Sky was also its biggest omission at launch, and that's multiplayer. Yes, No Man's Sky finally lets you explore space with a team of up to 4 players, and it's actually a ton of fun. You can explore space together, or break apart and go in your own separate way, or progress through the story together. You and your friends could also work together to build a big communal base, or like a city if you just keep on building up. Then when you get access to your very own freighter, there are multiplayer missions that you can embark on with your friends. Really, almost anything you can do playing alone, you can now do with a friend. The multiplayer here really makes a difference as well. Part of the appeal of No Man's Sky is the feeling of loneliness, being the only person in this big empty universe, but playing with a friend really changes the overall feeling of the game and makes it a lot more fun. And that's everything you need to know about No Man's Sky Next, but we want to hear from you, so meet us down below and let us know what you think. The next update has added more than enough for me to go back and check it out, but what about you? What are some things you'd like to see added in future updates? And as I'm sure you already know, hitting the like button really helps us out, and if you're new here, subscribing is a good idea because we put out videos like this every single day. As always, thank you for stopping by to hang out with us. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.